Auburn. What the H? The Auburn Tigers have decided to retroactively claim 7 more national titles. Before yesterday, Auburn had 2 national titles on their resume. 1957, when they went 10-0, finished ranked number 1 in the AP poll, number 2 in the coaches poll somehow, and 2010, where they bought Cam Newton for $100,000 and went and won a national championship in the greatest individual season in college football history, and now they're about to retire his jersey. However, now they have decided to claim 7 more national titles. This comes from athletic director John Cohen, who offered this explanation of the school's decision. Quote, "For too long, Auburn has chosen a humble approach to our program's storied history, choosing to recognize only Associated Press national championships. Starting this fall, we have made the decision to honor the accomplishments of our deserving student athletes, coaches, and teams from Auburn's proud history. Our visible national championship recognitions now align with the well-established standard used by the NCAA's official record books and our peers across the nation." What the H, brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. They want to be your jeweler. RickTerryJewelry.com. Looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. Auburn is totally justified in these national title claims. And let me explain why. Let me first point out that it's still hard to explain this. I got a lot of friends who are mainly just pro sports friends, so they don't understand the way national titles worked in college football. I'm dropping a link right now in the chat. It's right there. You guys go watch it. I did a video on this site on Off the Hook Sports 2 years ago, roughly 2 years ago now, on why college football went so long without a national title. And I explained the entire concept of a national title in college football, which is that college football is embedded in a historical tradition where national titles weren't even recognized. And to this day, the NCAA has never officially sanctioned a national title in college football. What they have sanctioned in their record books up until so just so you know, the college football playoff, not NCAA sanctioned. They sanction tournaments in every other sport. The college football playoff is an agreement between the power conferences and the athletic directors and Notre Dame. It's just a agreement of a tournament that they agreed to put on, but there's no NCAA behind it. The same was true with the BCS, by the way. Okay, it's the conferences individually and the athletic directors. And before that, it was just the bowls inviting teams with conference championships and tie-ins. So the way national championships worked before the college football playoff and BCS specifically was if one of the 23 polls, and there are about 23 polls officially sanctioned and recognized by the NCAA dating back to the 19-teens. Actually, they started in the 1930s, but they retroactively go all the way back to the first year college football was played in 1869. And the way teams were claiming national titles was if you were ranked number 1 in any of those 23 polls of the in the final version of any of those 23 polls at the end of the season, you could claim a national title. That's why you see claim national titles and unclaimed national titles, because some schools don't claim all the national titles in which they were ranked number 1 in a poll, and some schools do. It depends on which polls the schools decide to value. They all value the AP poll. Auburn was very humble in deciding only to consider the AP poll their national title poll, whether or not they were national titles and champions. Guys, Tennessee fans can't make fun of Auburn for what they just did. Tennessee recognizes 6 national champions. Only 2 of them did they finish number 1 in the AP or coaches poll, and they finished number 1 in both of them in 1951 and 1998. The other ones, they claim a national title in 1938, 1940, 1967, and 1950 because they finished number 1 in one of the final 23 polls. And by the way, they had every right to do that too. They went undefeated in 1938. Of course they should. Auburn's claim is very fair because of that point. What they did before then was very humble. Auburn now claims national titles from 1910, 1913, 1914, 1958, 1983, 1993, and 2004. Now, I have no idea what polls they finished number 1 in. Well, in all of these, okay? I can't answer, but I'm sure they finished number 1 in one of them. And because of that, yes, they get to claim a national title. First of all, let's just go through this list. 1910, they went 6-1. Billingsley labeled them number one. They get to claim a national championship. They do. 1913, they went 8-0. They went undefeated. Billingsley named them national champions. Of course they should recognize that. 1914, they went 8-0-1. I don't know who recognized them national champions that year, but they did win a share of the SIAA title. I think Tennessee could retroactively claim a national title in 1914. 1957, they did already claim the national title that year. 1958, because they went 9-0-1, finished number 4 in both final polls. I guess there's one postseason poll that came out. I don't know. They didn't go to a bowl game, but I'm sure there's one that labeled them. I can't explain 1958, but I can explain 1910 and 1913. I can't explain 1914 and 1958. 1983, I was always shocked they never did claim a national title. There were 5 different polls that named them national champions that year as they went 11-1 and beat Michigan in the Sugar Bowl to finish 11-1. Nobody else went undefeated that year. Miami claims a national title that year. I don't understand why Auburn couldn't have claimed it. Auburn was ahead of Miami before the bowl game, and both teams won their bowl games, and Miami jumped ahead of Auburn. That was the famous Nebraska Tom Osborne going for 2 game. I'm fine with it. And 2004, that national title is vacant. USC won the national title that year, blowing out Oklahoma in the national title game. Both teams went undefeated. USC blew out Oklahoma, but USC has had to vacate their national title because of the Reggie Bush scandal. So it's vacant. Auburn was the only undefeated remaining team left among Power 5 programs, and they should claim the national title that year. They should have claimed it anyway. The BCS should have given them the national title trophy that year. I'm totally fine with it. So in terms of those, 1910, 1913, 1958, 1910, 1913, 1983, and 2004, those additional national titles, I'm totally fine with. And then 1993, they were on probation that year, but NCF still declared them national champions. That's a National Championship Foundation. And guess what? They went 11-0. Sorry, they get to claim it. I don't care that they were on probation. They get to claim it. With that in mind, they get to claim a share or the outright national titles of 1910, 1913, 1958, 1983, 1993, and 2004. I can't explain. I'm sorry, and I'm leaving out 58. I can't explain 58. 1910, 1913, 1983, 1993, and 2004. I cannot explain 1914 and 1958. I don't think anybody ranked them number 1 on those. But of the 9 claimed national titles, everything I'm seeing, they have a full-on right to 7 of them. What the H brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. They want to be your jeweler. RickTerryJewelry.com.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
So what national championships should Tennessee claim? And I'm going to set that up as a poll question right now because there's a few I think Tennessee should claim that they don't claim. Which year should Vols claim a national title that they don't? 1914, when they went 9-0. 1939, undefeated, unscored, and untied on. No points allowed regular season. All right, you guys let me know this. Sorry, I'm trying to get this set up. Shut out every regular season foe. I can't. I'm trying to shorten this, but I'm having trouble, guys. So just give me a second. No points allowed reg season. All right, there we go. 1914, 9-0. 1939, no points allowed in the regular season. 1989, 11-1. Or all of them. You guys let me know about that. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to talk about each of these where they should claim a national title that they don't. For those who don't know, they claim one in 1938, 1940, 1950, 1951, 1967, and 1998. Tennessee, though, went undefeated in 1896, the first year back from the lost years. That saved the football program, but they went 4-0. I don't mind them not claiming a national title that year. However, the 1914 team went 9-0 as Orgy Clevenger that year. They beat Vanderbilt for the first time ever, won the SIAA. I think they should be claiming national championships that year. I see no reason why they can't, honestly. The 1939 team, they lost the Rose Bowl to USC, but Rose Bowls were glorified exhibitions at the time, and they lost it 14-0 after George Cafago had gotten hurt in the regular season and wasn't full go in that game. But during the regular season, and when most national champions were declared at the end of the regular season anyway, Tennessee went 10-0, did not allow a point that year. Did not allow a point. Of course, they should be declared national champions that year. They lost the bowl game in 1940 and claimed it. They should claim it in 1939. How about 1989? This is a big one for me, and I don't know why they're not claiming national champions that year. Tennessee finished number 5, going 11-1 that year. Their only loss was to Alabama after they switched quarterbacks from Sterling Hinton to Andy Kelly, and they had lost Reggie Cobb, their star running back, that week. But they beat UCLA when UCLA was in the top 10. They beat number 4 Auburn. They split the SEC title with Alabama and Auburn that year. But what's not talked about enough is what happened during the bowl games that year and why Tennessee should claim a national title. Okay, because going into the bowl games, for those who don't know, Tennessee was ranked number 8. They were ranked number 8 in both polls, okay? What happened after that? All the teams ahead of them started to falter. So, who was ahead of them? Alabama, who had lost their last game to Auburn, which is why Tennessee was able to share the SEC title. Alabama had lost their last game to Auburn. Alabama then lost to Miami in the Sugar Bowl. Okay, Miami was number 2. I get if you want to declare them national champions. All right, fine. But Miami was already ahead of Tennessee. That moves Tennessee up to number 7. Then, we're not done. 1989 still. Nebraska lost to Florida State. They were ahead of Tennessee. They lost to Florida State. That's what moved Tennessee up to number 6. Okay, fair enough. 1989. What about Notre Dame? They beat Colorado. Should have moved Tennessee. Okay, fair enough. That should have moved Tennessee ahead of Colorado, but it didn't. It kept Tennessee at number 5. Who else was ahead of Tennessee that year? And I'm going down the list. Florida State. Florida State, while they did beat Nebraska, they had 2 losses on the year. Most notably, Michigan. Michigan lost the Rose Bowl. That's how Tennessee moved up to number 5. Alabama, Nebraska, and Michigan lost, so Tennessee moved up to ahead of all of them. But Colorado lost their bowl game. Tennessee stayed behind Colorado. Florida State had 2 losses. Tennessee was somehow behind Florida State. Miami and Notre Dame both had 1 loss in the regular. So Tennessee should have at least been number 3, by the way. And Miami and Notre Dame both had 1 loss in the regular season. I think Tennessee can claim a share of the national title with Miami and Notre Dame. That's just the way I'm seeing it. And actually, to be fair, I think Notre Dame can't claim it because Miami beat Notre Dame. So Tennessee should claim a share of the national title with Miami that year, 1989. I think that's one of the most underrated teams that has absolutely a right to claim the national title. That's an unclaimed national title that they should have. Now, another official unclaimed national title they have retroactively, 1931. They went 9-0-1, won the Southern Conference. I can't give them that because they should have beaten Kentucky. They tied Kentucky that year with a chance to go to the Rose Bowl and blew it. So I'm not going to give them that one. But 89 and 39 and 14, absolutely do it. I'm fine with that. That gets Tennessee to 9, just as many as Auburn. So that's where I land on that.